Hi, today we're going to look at the language of astrology and how to communicate cosmically. If you want to learn astrology, you have to understand that astrology is a language. And in this video, we're going to look at the alphabet of astrology, the astrology sentence structure, and the actual astrology paragraph, how we put things together with the stars and their meanings. Thank you for joining me. I'm Ev Zerverdakis, founder of Holistic Healing Astrology. So let's dive in. So this is a natal chart. It's a sample natal chart. And we have all the birth information over here. And remember, you don't need a time of birth. If we are not sure what time of day you were born, we would just put, there are a couple of different ways to do it, but that's not a big deal. What you need to understand is the language of astrology. So what's the alphabet of astrology? Well, the alphabet of astrology is the symbols, all the symbols of astrology. They're over here in the aspect grid, and we'll talk more about that later. And they're over here with the signs around the outer wheel, if you see the green arrow, and the planets and points, and then the aspects themselves. And the houses, they're just numbered 1 through 12. Okay, so that's the language of astrology. It's symbolic with these little symbols or glyphs. Okay, if you don't know your time of birth, you just don't know the exact house position that your sun, moon, and all these planets are located in the house of the zodiac wheel. But you still are going to know the planets in the signs, and you're going to know the aspects, and that's tons of information. All these things are words, sentences, and paragraphs. So I'm here to break it down for you and to understand that your astrology chart is a little workbook of your life. It's your soul contract in symbolism, and it's something you created with the creator. So there is no bad chart. All right. Now, if you don't know the symbols and you want to learn about the symbols, I have a video about symbols. You just search symbols and you'll hear all about it. But this is where we start to learn astrology. So let's take a look, and we know what the symbols mean. I'm assuming that the symbols are, knowledgeable. You have a good knowledgeable base about the symbols. So let's move forward. How do you read this, right? How do you read the alphabet? Well, you could start anywhere you'd like. Most astrologers like to look at the personal planets first and move forward. So let's take a look here. This is the symbol for the sun, and you read it. The sun is in 0 degrees, 27 minutes, Sagittarius. Okay, that's the translation of this symbology right here. So most people, say, I have a Sagittarius sun, or they get really crafty and they say, my big three is, and you can look at the big three here. You have the sun, 0 degrees Sagittarius, 27 minutes. We could skip the minutes, all right? The moon is 22 degrees Cancer, right? And the ascendant is 8 degrees Gemini, okay? If you don't know your time of birth, doesn't matter, then you really don't know the ascendant. We just ignore it, okay? So if you want to further advance and you are more advanced, then you want to know more about your sun sign. Not only is it in 0 degrees of Sagittarius, you would look at all the points here that radiate out. These are called aspects. So here's a little grid to help the astrologers and you figure it out. The sun and moon are trine. Here's another symbol, right? More symbols. So that's a language. Sun means words, moon means other words. We'll get to that later in another video. And the trine has another meaning. So you're going to say, well, what is this 8 degrees, 52 minutes A? That means that the margin, the distance is of exact, meaning it's not exactly a trine. It has a margin of 8 degrees. So that's not important right now for you guys. What is important is that you know that there's a relationship between the sun and the moon. And the trine tells you if it's a working, challenging relationship, or if it's just flowing, or if it's you're divinely orchestrated, things like that, because everything has meaning. Okay. And then you go down and you say, oh, the sun also has a relationship with Mars. And the sun here has a relationship with Jupiter. And the sun has a relationship with Saturn. And the sun has a relationship with Pluto. And the sun has a relationship with the south node and the north node. Okay. And it has a relationship with the ascendant, the descendant, part of fortune. And that's how the astrologers start to decode. But I'm breaking it down very simply for you. It's a language. And we put the words together. So each sign has keywords. Each planet or abstract point has keywords. Each house has keywords 1 through 12, and each aspect has keywords. You put all those keywords together and you come up with a possible meaning. But who really knows the meaning of your chart? You do. Who could change the meaning of the chart? You can. I'm just the messenger and the translator, but you help me translate the chart. This is not a dictatorship. This is a working collaborative. We work together. A great astrologer will work together with the client to get the best possible meaning. So when you want to do your own natal chart, you have to always be asking yourself, is that what this means for me? Is that the key word for me? Or is it another key word? And as a side note, all the key words could be divided into 2 groups. They could be positive, negative, dark, or light. It's up to you how you use the energies of the astrology symbols. So the language could have a negative tone or it could have a positive tone. I understand that this is very complicated, but after 50-something years of studying this, I'm simplifying it for all those people that have a natal chart in their hand and want to better understand themselves so they could live to their highest potential. That's what astrology is really about. And it's the first time in modern history where anybody could go online, punch in their information, and have this natal chart in their hands. Before, you would have to see an astrologer because they would have to do the mathematics to figure out the exact placements of the ascendant, the sun, the moon, all that. In my day, we used to figure it out with logarithms, slide rules. There was no computer software program that you could punch in. And by the way, some of them are not very accurate. This one here that I use, ephemeris, is extremely accurate, and it uses the telescope that NASA uses. So we get the exact degree and minute of the planet in the sign of Capricorn or Sagittarius or Gemini. You see, it's a very precise tool. And we're going to end by saying that the language could be interpreted in many different ways. However, the I'm going to pause this for a second. Like any language, we have to be very careful what we tell ourselves about our chart. So we can't say, oh, I have Pluto next to my sun and I'm in big trouble because Pluto is next to my sun. No, that could mean that you're going to be a wealthy millionaire, billionaire. Okay. So you have to be careful who you listen to, what you digest when it comes to astrology, because we have free will, and the free will is dictated by you. And in this time of spiritual warfare, you have to be really careful because we have some mischievous spirits out there that scramble up our head and our brain and get us to be afraid of everything, even astrology, planets, and charts. So these charts are here to help you, to guide you, to get you to better understand yourself. Because once you understand yourself, then you'll have better relationships with everyone around you, and you'll be able to figure out what jobs are best for you. And then you could look at transits, which will be another video up ahead. Okay, so feel free to post in the comments below any questions, and I will address them. I read everything. So today we learned that there is an alphabet in astrology, and with this alphabet we make words, and with the words we make sentences, and with the sentences we make paragraphs. Thank you. Until I see you again, this is Ev Zervudakis with Holistic Healing Astrology, and it's not too late to sign up to our monthly classes. Go online and check it out. Bye.